the Qitana Ravel. Yeah, I probably butchered the name of this place. Got a lot on my mind at the moment, so, yeah. We're gonna come in here. If you're a tank, remember to turn on your tanking stance. First enemy that you come across. Alright, so, tank this guy wherever you want. Whichever side it links to. That side, these guys, their eyes are going to come up. You want to hide because it's going to do some AoE damage across the floor. And it'll go back and forth. This guy's not going to move. Yes, it is time to learn to learn. Kill and learn at the same time. So with this guy, he just teaches the mechanic of what you're supposed to be doing. Whichever one's eyes are up, you want to be hiding from it. So think of it kind of like a gaze attack coming from the side instead of coming from the enemy. That's not good because you just look away from a gaze attack. Alright, we've got two groups coming up that we can pull simultaneously. As in, pull one group then the other. We'll be using, or rather I will be using some cooldowns on this pull. Get to the other idol, there it is. Make sure that you have targeted the right things. Make sure you've got threat on everything. And make sure that you're not running with a white mage when you decide to pop your best cooldown when they decide to holy spam. Okay, pop the other cooldown. Pop reprisal. Dodge out of stuff. Heal yourself. Dodge out of the stuff on the ground. Don't want to get hit by the AoEs. Alright, so we got this next one coming up. Very similar, but this one gives a wonderful change. So it's best to pretty much attack it where it's standing. Alright. So, it splits the beams between the sides, but there will also only be one beam per side. So you can pay attention to where the beam is going to be coming from by looking at which ones are being linked and then dodge accordingly. Just does massive damage if you get hit. Best to dodge out of stuff if you can. And after this guy should be the first boss. There he is. I believe this boss has a twofold mechanic. So what you want to do if tanking this guy is turn him perpendicular to the field. Perpendicularness is required for mechanics, because he's going to do one of two things, and it's going to create quadrants, basically. He's going to attack half the field at a time. So Lozatl Scorn is going to go out, and it's going to be that half. So that statue has basically awoken, and momentarily it's going to blow up half the field. It'll blow up half the field. Feet up is going to be the other thing that we're going to pay attention to. That's why we turn him. Never mind, it doesn't matter if you turn him or not. He readjusts his position before doing it. Stone Fist. Tank Buster. Pop a cooldown to mitigate that. So heat up, he's going to do left or right, and you always want to be on the opposite side. So he's doing his left arm this time, so we hop on the left side of him. Or the right side of him. His right side, our left side. Lozatl's Fury is going to be on that side as well. So you just have to dodge out of both the attacks when they stack like that. And he will stack them a couple of times depending upon how long the fight goes. Stone Fist again, popping minor cooldown. Well, I appreciate the raid, Crimson. I hope that you have a good evening. Thank you again for stopping in. Alright, he's doing his right arm, which is our left side, so we dodge over here. In the turn, we dodge out of the combination. Boss is almost down, and the boss is down. But yes, thank you for bringing your people in and crushing them with me. I try to do my best in here, and we're getting one of the best named characters, one of the best named bosses coming up next. Right, the bats come out. Aggro the bats. Both on the next group. Find the bat that you're not aggroed on, and reestablish threat. So the next boss, if I recall correctly, is going to be named Batsquatch. And it's just a giant bat. I think that's the next bat, and that's the next boss. Okay. Good. We're gonna need on the ring. When pulling a group, it's good to establish threat on all of them. Usually with a shield lob, sometimes you can't because they run up like this, and you have to try to get them with the AoE attacks. But a shield lob should establish threat on everything that's around you. Alright, we've got the holy spam going out. Right, now we are going to be using cooldowns, mitigate stuff, and we're going to toss a heal on ourselves. Toss a few heals on ourselves. Circle of Scorn going. Nice little bit of DPS. Deltron out. Now you don't need to do these full pulls like I've done here. You can do smaller if you're more comfortable doing smaller. Do what is most comfortable for you and try to keep up. If you are the healer and people die because of overly large pulls, don't feel bad. Sometimes tanks will pull more than you can heal, and that's just something that you come across. Don't feel bad, don't take it personally. To get on your case, then you can just ask them, don't pull such large things next time. Alright, Batsquatch. Very simple, straightforward fight. Ripper Fang is going to be the tank buster. Soundwave, this is the fun one. Soundwave goes out. AoE, damage dealt. My mistake, Soundwave wasn't the fun one, Subsonics is the fun one. Pounds the ground repeatedly, and it causes things to fall from the ceiling. A bunch of really large things are going to fall from the ceiling. Pull the boss away from them. Watch them, because Soundwave, I believe, is what's going to make them fall. Yep. You don't want to be standing anywhere near them when they fall. So just watch where the stalactites fall, and then move as needed to avoid them after Sonic Wave goes out. Subsonics, you'll have to dodge some smaller stalactites that fall. Stalactites. 3 of them will fall on the second time. They're all going to fall in the direction that they fall. Never mind, I thought you could predict the way that they would fall. So forget anything about the direction that they fall, just try to dodge them as they start falling. A good way is to be near the base and then move away from wherever the base is. Be standing at the base, see where it goes, and then move opposite of the direction that it falls. Right, we've got 2 of them this time. Like they're both going to be falling someplace unpleasant. Both fall towards the middle. You can kind of guess based upon where the shadow is. If you stand on the stalactite at the point where it's close, the shadow is closest to the base of the stalactite where it's stuck in the ground, you should be safe. New gear. I think I broke 90k with that. 95,000. Oh goody. A lot of this stuff would not be fresh in my mind if I hadn't run this on Sav fairly recently. So, this section of enemies, I highly recommend you don't do big pulls here. You will see why, because I'm going to ignore my advice. Gonna do that. We got the fully spam going off. Holy spam is off. We're doing reprisal. We're going to do arm's length so that everybody gets load as well. Keep forgetting about arm's length. I'm not used to the people getting slowed when they get hit with it. But, yeah, this is a lot of damage to get through, and... Oh, there's the benediction. And immediately after, you have these Forgiven Violence pop up. I'm going to try to establish better threat on, otherwise they're going to pull away from me. Go. I don't have my cooldowns this time, so this is going to be fun. And we've got DPS coming from enemies on the sides. They're basically hurling their poop at us. You know, as they're wont to do. Reprisal is back up, so we'll pop Reprisal. Rampart is almost back up. Rampart is back up, so we're going to pop that. Try your best not to stand in anything during these pulls, because the less damage you take, the better. I like the back and forth tanking because it doesn't mean that it allows for better continuity with the DPS. If you're moving back and forth, they can stay behind them a little bit easier than if you're like running around in a circle. Oh. Didn't mean to let that one get away from me. Rolled on those. Got one more treasure coffer, and then I think we got the boss. The last boss is going to be fun. I know I explained it in a previous video on Salve. That probably doesn't exist anymore. Oh hey, I am going to need on those. Because that's going to be an increase of damage. Skip the cutscene. I'm going to do this and hope nobody pulls before I do, so that I can equip those items. Alright, this boss, Eros. I like to tank it facing away from the party. You'll notice the boss has 3 heads. That will come into play with one of the attacks. Rend. Definitely pop cooldowns for Rend, because it can cause a lot of damage done. Mini cooldowns, I should say. Out of Heaven. Out of Heaven. The boss is going to link to another player, and they're going to get a line, and it's going to be arrows pointing one direction and the other direction. You want to run away from the boss during that attack. If you want to run away until the line turns into just like a regular solid purple line. You'll take less damage that way. So the boss is going to do an inhale after placing these venom things on the ground, and you will want to move to a point where you're not going to go through the poison, because it's going to deal lots of damage to you if you go through the poison. You can also pop arm's length not to get knocked back by that, but you have to time it properly. Alright, this is the point where you want to pay attention to the heads. Confession of Faith. You don't want to be standing in the front, and you don't want to be standing with either of them. I was standing too far front. That's my mistake. It does a fire blast to the front, and then lightning bolts on the 2 people that get targeted. Alright, so somebody else got that, and they are standing right where they're not supposed to be, so they're going to take massive damage. I'm going to move him just a little bit. Okay. Get targeted with this. Drop it into a spot where it's not going to hinder when it goes out. And he does the inhale-exhale thing. I activated arm's length so I wouldn't get knocked back by that. Rend is coming out again. Pop a couple of cooldowns if you want. Usually something to just slightly mitigate it is best. Hound out of heaven. See, that time they did it properly. See how the line turned purple? That is how you want to do Hound out of heaven. Alright, we got the Venom going out again. Nope. Confession of Earth. Stack mechanic. Reposition the boss so that people can get behind for positionals. You can either do it this way or you can move behind the... like back up a few steps. Glaciolalia. Just had the... Alright. Healer got targeted that time. You can just toss him a clemency. Alright, so this last boss is not very difficult if you know what you're doing. Pay attention to what's going on. And the boss should go down relatively easily and quickly. And that is the Qitana Ravel. Ravel. I don't know how to pronounce that word. Thank you for watching. I hope you found it informative. If you want to see more Final Fantasy XIV videos, please like, follow, and subscribe. The usual YouTube stuff. To catch me live, check out my Twitch, link in the description. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.